Welcome to Ask the Expert, an award-winning daily series from 8:30 to 9 a.m. to help small businesses. If you have any questions, please do ask them in the comments of the live feed. And a reminder, if you need any more advice, please do join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook, where there are accountants and business experts to help on hand 24/7. During the live session today, we will be running a poll, so please do engage with it and I will reveal the results at the end of the show. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone joining us this morning. My name is Ariona. I am a Chartered Certified Accountant with the ACCA and I'm also Managing Director of Majors Accounts & Co. So I started working in accountancy at the tender age of 13, and I was obviously studying throughout that time as well whilst working. And I think it really helped me to understand, the theory that I was learning, putting it into practice, and seeing how a business works, how it functions, kind of what areas they're looking to improve, or the goals that a business has, whether it's to grow or to become more profitable or to satisfy the business owners elements of their personal life or to fit around their personal life. So I think that knowledge and experience coupled together have really helped to build that understanding of businesses. So who are Majors Accounts? So we're a small family-run practice based in Southeast London. We're a team of around 20 and close to 2,000 clients. So over the years, we've really seen every kind of business in every industry pretty much, but we mostly service businesses in the SME sector, so owner-managed businesses or limited companies and self-employed individuals. And generally, at the moment, we're working mostly with businesses in the construction sector and property development, but we also work very closely with businesses in the hospitality sector, such as pubs, bars, restaurants, also some nurseries, some IT businesses, and some financial services business. But that's not limited to just that, but we've really seen everything over the last few years. So since becoming managing director, I have spearheaded a digitalization strategy within our business with the aim to become a paperless business and to use technology and adopt technology to help move away from the mundane tasks where we were spending a lot of time and focusing on more efficient and effective time-saving tactics and techniques in order for us to have more conversations with our clients, to get to know our clients better, see how their businesses are working, and see where we can identify areas that we could help satisfy whatever their needs may be. So I'm proud to say we are a QuickBooks Online only practice. So we use QuickBooks basically for all of our clients, and we have an array of different apps and technology that all feed into QuickBooks. And it's been great, not just for our clients, because they're now able to see the figures of their business and how they're doing. It's at their fingertips in real time, but also for our team who are using the latest cutting edge technology. So there's a lot better satisfaction, and they're putting into practice the theory that they're learning and making a difference for our clients, but also ensuring we are ahead of the game for all of our clients. So now there's obviously convenience and time saving. Clients don't need to come to our office any longer in order to have meetings or to communicate with us. We have things like Zoom, for example, which allows us to communicate really easily, saves their time. They don't have to spend hours and wait in meetings here either. So that's helped massively for our national reach, because we have clients all over the UK, but it's also assisting us with our global reach as we are taking more and more clients outside of the UK. So the idea was to bring the client-accountant relationship closer. I think a lot of people think when you adopt technology, it means that you're kind of putting a computer in place and you lose that human touch. But for us, it's actually been the opposite. We're speaking to our clients so much more than we would have done previously. Now, during this time, our efforts have been recognised. We've been nominated for a few awards by the British Accountancy Awards for 2 years in a row. I've been nominated for a few awards with the Women in Accounting and Finance 2020 and Top 50 Women in Accounting. So the changes that we're making are really making a difference, and this has been recognised. So enough about us and me. Today, as a lot of people are calling it, the 19th of July, it's somewhat Freedom Day. A lot of restrictions have been lifted. So I believe, apart from having to wear masks on public transport, you now don't need to wear a mask, or you can choose not to, and businesses are able to reopen no matter what industry they're in. We know we have a few clients in the nightclub industry. They opened up at midnight last night, and now there are no restrictions either for having the amount of clients you can have in your premises. So this is welcome news for so many businesses. It's their hope to manage to get back to work, to some normality, and start building up their turnover and their business and their footfall once again. Hopefully this will be now, the future will be like this going forward, so we won't have to go into any further lockdowns, but at least everyone is happy for the time being. But something to be aware of, and something that we mentioned and stressed to our clients throughout the pandemic, the government provided a lot of support and financial support and all sorts. This support will not come without strings. So we urged our clients to please ensure they kept the correct paperwork for any kind of support they have taken from the government. So when they do investigate, because of course they're going to investigate, a lot of fraud has taken place, unfortunately, but you don't want to get caught out by it by not having the right paperwork. So a lot of businesses, they may have taken support by accident, unknowingly, or maybe they have taken it, as they should, but they haven't kept the right paperwork. So they have to prove that they have not taken more than they should. So there has been a ramp up in investigations into taxpayers suspected of tax evasion and avoidance, and they appear to be in full swing. Again, following disruption caused by the pandemic, according to UHY Hacker Young. So data published by HMRC shows that it opened 102,000 compliance investigations in Q1 of 2021, which is up 36% from 75,000 that they opened in the previous quarter, and almost quadruple the low of just 27,000 in the second quarter of 2020, which is understandable because that was as the pandemic hit. But the extra amount of revenue that HMRC brought in from its compliance activity jumped to 29% to 14.2 billion in Q1 of 2021, an increase from just 11 billion in the same period in 2020. So UHY Hacker Young partner Graham Bohr has said that HMRC is turning its focus back to tax investigations, and the pandemic has left it with a lot of catching up to do, understandably. HMRC's resources have been stretched during the pandemic. While it has taken a more lenient approach, I guess, throughout the last year towards taxpayers, that now appears to be ending. And taxpayers with skeletons in the closet should be aware they are at risk of investigations, fines, and even, unfortunately, prison sentences in some instances. So it would be better for individuals with unpaid tax to approach HMRC first before they come knocking. So we have seen this massively, and there are two types of investigations that we have seen a huge increase in. One is national minimum wage, and the other is VAT. So for national minimum wage, what are they looking for? So one of their main things is they want to ensure, obviously, that workers are being paid the correct at least the minimum national minimum wage. So they will be looking to see timesheets. In your timesheets, you may think that showing an employee clocking in or out is enough, but unfortunately it's not. They also are looking for when they go on breaks, when they come back from breaks, and if they go on a few breaks, you need to be recording each one, which seems kind of unrealistic in a business that is so busy and trying to focus to get back to normal. But this is something that they're looking for now, but also for the past year at least as well. Now, some people do this on kind of paper manual records. There are apps out there which allow you to record all of this a lot easier. However, there is quite a high cost that comes with it. So you need to kind of figure out which one would be better for you. With timesheets, they also want to show that there are payslips that have been produced that match the timesheets, so they've been paid the correct amount. Once you've got the payslip and ensure that it's been reported and recorded accurately, they also want to show you have to provide proof of payment to your employee. A lot of people pay by bank, so that's easy enough to prove because it's a direct bank transfer and it will be on your business account, but there are still people that pay in cash. You need to ensure that you have some proof that the employee has taken that cash by way of a signature with a date and a description of what's been paid to them. We have seen that there are unfortunately cases where the employee has been paid in cash, but because the employer didn't keep a record of it, that employee can complain to HMRC. HMRC will give you the option to prove you've paid them. If you can't, you have to pay the employee again for the same period. So you don't want to be caught out with that. And also furlough records. So there are a lot of businesses that took advantage of flexible furlough as well as full furlough. They want to see timesheets showing the times that you claimed for furlough are actually accurate and how you worked it out. So you need to ensure that you have accurate calculations for your furlough as well. In terms of VAT investigations, they're looking for sales invoices, which obviously have the basic information such as who the invoice is going to, tax point date, the service that is being provided or product, whatever it may be. VAT number must be on there, and also a breakdown of the VAT element on the invoice as well. Apart from that, there are some businesses who are able to, they don't pay VAT on certain services because they're outside of the scope. You need to ensure that you have the paperwork backing that to say why you're not claiming it. Some businesses, such as the construction sector, would be able to prove that with planning permissions from councils. So please make sure that you have all of that information to back it up. The other thing is they're looking for expenses. Common misconception is that businesses think, if my expense is in my business bank account, then of course it's obviously for business. It may be really obvious, but I'll use the example of a client that we've had in the past, a construction business that went to B&Q, bought some materials. Nothing kind of, untoward going on there. But the inspector disputed the fact that that could be an expense because they didn't have a receipt, because they said, well, you could go to B&Q and buy some cushions. How do I know you didn't buy something for yourself? So they disallowed those expenses. So please ensure you keep all your receipts, and they want to see an audit trail with the digital links going through with MTD as well. And the last thing to make you aware of, we've noticed some clients who have taken the bounce back loan and may have taken more than they should have. So a lot of people base the bounce back loan estimates for what you could take on their tax year, the company's tax year, rather than the calendar year of 2019, which has meant that some businesses took more than they should have. And where the banks are starting to notice this as they're submitting accounts showing the income for those years, they're actually closing their business bank accounts. And a business without a business bank account, it's really difficult to function. And trying to open another bank account, if you want a high street bank, it's taking a lot of time at the moment. So please ensure, if you notice that you've taken more than you should have, just approach your bank and say, this much I took extra, I'm going to pay it back to you, and you can keep the amount that you were allowed to take anyway. So I see the questions are coming in now. We have a question from Ain on Twitter, who says, Barclays recently increased my banking fees dramatically and I'm not happy about it. Do you have any recommendations for other banks with better rates? So I'll use us as an example as a business. So we were with Barclays, but we decided to move to Starling. We've just found it to be amazing. It's really easy to open a business account. We had our business cards sent to us in the post within 3 days after applying, and obviously our account numbers, we got them literally the next day. So we were able to start using it straight away. The app is really easy to use as well. And after trying it out for our own business, we've loved it so much that we've actually partnered with them as well. But we found it to be an amazing amazing bank, sorry. The only issue is that it's quite difficult to withdraw cash or put cash into the bank. You'd have to go to a local post office, for example, and there are daily limits. But if you're a business that is not really operating with cash that much, this is an ideal bank, just from my experience with it. Obviously, you'd need to see how your business would fit with that. But apart from that, I know that Starling have stopped opening as many bank accounts because they were inundated during the pandemic, where the high street banks were struggling, and they've said, we're not taking on any new customers at the moment. That's where Starling really absorbed all of those customers looking for bank accounts. But apart from Starling, there are banks like Tide and Revolut, which are all online banks. Again, they don't have the option to go into branch, but their support online, on the phone, through the app or chat, we found to be amazing. So it's all what works best for you, but for us as a business and a lot of our clients, Starling has been a great business bank, or even a personal bank to bank with. I have a question from Elliot on Facebook Messenger, who says, I've taken a big hit through COVID, so I'm planning on dissolving my company at the end of our next financial year and just operating as a sole trader after. I want to purchase the equipment of my company when that happens, but I don't want to get in trouble with HMRC when in reality no money is changing hands. How do I go about this? So it depends. If you're just dissolving it yourself, and your accountant can help you with this, the business can sell those assets to you at a very low price, or at the price that they're actually valued at the moment. And judging from how much you would have purchased them for, there won't be any tax implications that way. And instead of taking dividends, there are ways around this. You won't get into trouble with HMRC as long as it's done correctly, but definitely consult your accountant, because they will be able to walk you through this depending on the value of your assets and so on, and how you're planning to close it down. It's something that everyone does on a daily basis. There's nothing actually wrong with it, but definitely consult your accountant. They can take you through step by step. We have a question from Taha on YouTube comments, who says, I like accounts, but part of the reason I'll be pursuing ACCA is because I want to live in Europe or in the West. I plan to complete my PER as the demand here is very low, but still I'll be doing CFA after that. Will that make employers more willing to hire me? Well, from my experience, the more kind of qualifications you have, the better chance you would have, I guess, of being noticeable to employers. At least it will look good on your CV. Hopefully it should help you stand out. But ACCA, I have to say, I think is an amazing qualification. It's not easy to get. There's a lot of blood, sweat and tears that goes into getting all of those exams, and they're not getting any easier. However, it's a great qualification that is recognized globally. So if you're planning to live in Europe, obviously ACCA is amazing, because you can use ACCA wherever you go, basically. CFA as well, it depends on what you're planning to do, because CFA is quite focused on another area of accounting, on finance. So, but it's another great qualification that's, again, really hard to do. So maybe I think they can be quite similar, but in different areas of finance and accounting. It may be worth trying to stick to one, but then again, who am I to talk? Because I've got obviously chartered, a fellow member of ACCA, and I've got a master's in accounting and finance, a master in law in international banking finance, and a diploma in strategic finance. So I'm kind of all over the place. That's because I love studying. I guess I'm a little bit of a geek that way, but definitely have a look at where they overlap, and if there is, depending on what you want to do going forward, if there is a qualification that better meets your goal. I know, for example, some of my colleagues, they studied ACCA, but they want to go into tax, so they studied CTA after that. It just complements and enhances the skills that they need to get into a certain area. So that all depends on where you want to go, but both of those are amazing qualifications to have. And if you're able to do both, good on you. We have a question from Lily on Instagram who says, my company is UK based, but I'm about to move to Canada for 6 months and all my clients are still here. How do I go about paying myself? I want to do this by the book, but don't want to get in any tax trouble. Okay, so seeing as trade would be happening in the UK, I presume still, there's no kind of change there apart from you making the move yourself. And I don't know whether you're going, it's just for 6 months. So really everything would be as normal. You have your trade here, you pay tax here, and when you pay yourself as well, you pay tax on dividends in the UK. And then obviously if you want to take that to Canada for spending money, obviously you can, but I would consult an accountant in Canada, because I don't know what the rules are over there for bringing in money from overseas, and whether you would have to pay any extra tax over there, or if you have to elect for things like the remittance charge and things like that. But I don't think that would apply to you because you're going just for 6 months. But to be on the safe side, do consult an accountant over there just to see how it works over there. Here, nothing really needs to change. You just carry on working as usual. We have a question from Faisal on Instagram who says, I think I may have been paid more than I needed in my bounce back loan, and I'll take your advice and alert the bank. How should I approach this conversation? Just be open and honest. Give them a call and say, listen, I've noticed I've done my accounts now for that year. The figure that I gave when I took the bounce back loan was an estimate. I didn't have all the figures to hand, but we needed some support. The government was handing it out, so we decided to go for the bounce back loan. But now, seeing the figures, it seems that they were incorrect. This is actually how much I should have got, so I want to give you the portion that I took extra back. Once you say it like this, the bank would be usually, they should be fine. From what I've seen, clients haven't had any issues where they've approached them and said, listen, this is a genuine mistake. I don't want to take more money than I should have done, and I'm paying it back. But it's the people that have taken it and are not saying anything, and the bank is noticing first. They're the ones that are having kind of no notice. They're just being told, in 60 days, whatever the terms are for that business bank account, we're closing your account, and that's it. And there's no really coming back from that. They will not overturn their decision. But it's honestly just being open and honest. They're human beings at the end of the day as well. So hopefully you'll be speaking to someone who's nice and who understands, and you're doing a good thing. You've noticed where the error was and you're correcting it. So if anything, that should make them want to carry on doing business with you. So that's how I would approach it personally. Honesty is the best policy, I always say. We have a question from Tony on Twitter who says, if you don't have some of the documentation you outlined for an investigation, what should we do? Okay, there are many businesses that have this. The whole point of investigations is to help taxpayers to ensure that they're keeping records accurately, they're paying the right amount of tax, not too much, not too little, the amount as set out in legislation. Generally, if you have an inspector, from my experience, because now I'm dealing with investigations, most of my time goes to investigations on a daily basis. If you have an inspector who has experience, they will generally approach it as working together with the business owner to ensure that if things aren't kept as they should, work together to make sure it's kept correctly from now on. If they can see that it wasn't done deliberately and you've made every effort to try and keep your records, but you may have some parts missing which you didn't realize, which is normal. Not just because you are a business owner doesn't mean you should know the tax law from A to Z and so on. Obviously, the support of an accountant should help you with that, but there are times where you have certain things where you're focusing on other areas of your business and you've forgotten to keep a few receipts, for example. If they can see that generally your record keeping is good, then they will provide you with kind of help to ensure and pointers of where you can improve, and say from now on, make sure that you keep the correct paperwork. And if they come back to you at a later date, then they won't be as lenient because they'll say, we've given you the chance. If you have someone who's maybe newer, to investigations. They're kind of reading from a script sheet, going through a list. They're not as helpful, but again, if you're able to show that, you know, I've kept as much as I could. I wasn't aware that I needed to keep all of this extra paperwork that you're expecting me to keep, but I will do from now on. Generally, that can help to kind of ease the investigation a little bit, and give you some breathing space and a second chance almost. But one thing I would say, with investigations that I've seen at the moment, I'm seeing all sorts of things. And I think it's really important to ensure you have your accountant present, because there are some things that inspectors should not be doing, but the taxpayer or the business owner does not know this. So they will try it. And if the business owner willingly gives the information they don't need to, this could cause, you know, a lot more complications later down the line. So please, 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 if you can, have your advisor or accountant present, just to kind of navigate the conversation in the way that is lawful and the way that it should be, in order to be fair to the business owner as well. But generally, if you work with the inspector, you know, they will understand, especially during the last year. So hopefully that should soften them up a bit, if you're able to be open and honest with what you have and don't have. We have a question from Ashley on Facebook Messenger, who says, some of my staff did the odd couple of hours here and there while on furlough, but we didn't keep timesheets for them. Would it be less complicated to just pay that back and take the hit? If they're just a couple of hours here or there, I wouldn't pay it back necessarily, because it's not like you've taken on, if it's just a couple of hours, that doesn't seem like you've kind of try to take extra money from the government or anything like that. If you want to pay it back because you can afford to, then by all means do. But at least from now on, please ensure you have those timesheets correct, so you can show, well, listen, I didn't do it at that time. It was manic. We were just trying to ensure that we're on our feet, you know, when we do come out of lockdown. So there may have been a couple of hours missing, but we've got the calculations at least on how we calculated furlough. So you'll be able to see the hours that we claimed for. They're the hours that they worked or didn't work. But from now on, again, it's all about showing from now on, I will keep things in a more accurate way. So unfortunately, I don't have time for any more questions, but the poll results are in. We asked you, if you were to be investigated, are you confident you have your paperwork in order? 50% of you said yes, and 50% said no, and none of you said not sure. Okay, so obviously for those that have said yes, great. I guess you've used that time during the pandemic to ensure at least your paperwork is in order. For those of you who said no, please try and ensure you implement it now. At least when you do get investigated, if HMRC say, well, we want to see these records, as long as you've got some of the records to show that you were doing something, you should be okay. If you're able to prove that, you know, I've sought professional advice and I've been told that this is how I can improve my record keeping, and once you do that, they can see that actually, you know, the record keeping previously, it wasn't done on purpose, it wasn't because you were trying to hide anything, but it's because you genuinely didn't think you need to keep all of those records. And you'd be surprised how many small things that you would see as insignificant, but HMRC don't, unfortunately. And depending on, again, on the inspector, they're not as commercially aware, I guess. They're more kind of looking to the letter of the law, and they don't really care whether it's small, insignificant. They say the law says it, I want to see it. But if you're able to show, yeah, I didn't do it before, but I'm doing it now, that should help you out massively in case you do get investigated. So I want to say thank you to all of you for tuning in this morning. If you do want to get in touch with myself, please contact me via the Majors Accounts website, which is majorsaccounts.com, or where we've got a live feature, or you can contact us through all social media platforms. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, so feel free to send us a message through any of those mediums. We've also got our own app which you can download from our website, which you can, all the latest information as it comes out, general accounting information and tax calculators if you wanted to see, how much tax you would pay for taking an extra employee on or whatever it may be. It's jam-packed and really useful and has really helped a lot of our clients throughout the pandemic. But we've also got a news section on our website, so as news comes out or relevant information to your business or any business support that's available, we do publish that there, so please do go and have a look at that. Coming up on Ask the Expert tomorrow is Victoria Shepherd, who is founder of Queens of Mayfair and Hospitality PR and Marketing Pro. So tune in to learn all about launching a business in a post-lockdown world, very relevant now, and how to reach new customers. A reminder that if you do need any more advice, please do join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook, where there are accountants and business experts on hand to help 24/7. I've really enjoyed answering your questions this morning. I hope they've helped, and I wish you all a great rest of the day.